The slave of an ex-consul had been brought in along with several others who had been provided to fight the wild beasts. The slave was called Androclus. When that lion saw him in the distance, he suddenly stopped, as if in amazement, and then gradually and calmly approached the man, as if he recognized him. Then he gently and soothingly wagged his tail, in the way fawning dogs do, and came close to the man, and gently licked the legs and hands of the man who was almost paralyzed with fear. Through those caresses of such a savage beast, Androclus regained his senses, which had been paralyzed, and gradually turned back to look at the lion. Then, as if recognizing each other, you might have seen the lion and the man happy and demonstrating their joy. Androclus was summoned by Caesar, and asked why the very fierce lion had spared him alone. Then Androclus told a strange and wonderful tale. He said, "When my master held the province of Africa as a proconsul, I was unjustly beaten every day by him, and was forced to run away. And, so that my hiding place would be safer from my master, I took refuge in the lonely parts of the countryside and the desert, and, if my food ran out, my plan was to kill myself somehow or other. Then, in the raging heat of the scorching midday sun, I found a remote cave, which provided a good hiding place, and went inside and hid. Not much later, this lion came to the same cave. He was lame, and one paw was covered in blood, and he was groaning and whimpering, seeking pity for his excruciating pain. After the lion came into that cave, which in fact turned out to be his home, he saw me cowering in the distance, and gently and tamely approached me, and seemed to show me his raised paw, and stretch it out to me as if to ask for help. Then I pulled out a huge thorn which was sticking into the pad of his paw. I squeezed out from deep inside the wound the pus that had gathered there, and without much fear now, I carefully and thoroughly dried it, and wiped away the blood. Then, relieved by the trouble I had taken in treating him, he put his paw in my hands, lay down, and went to sleep, and from that day for the next 3 years the lion and I lived in the same cave, and also lived on the same food. For he brought to the cave the choicest joints of the beasts which he had hunted, which I, having no fire, baked in the midday sun and ate. But when at last I became weary of that wild life, I left the cave, when the lion had gone off hunting, and, travelling for about 3 days, I was seen by soldiers and arrested, and brought back from Africa to my master in Rome. He immediately saw to it that I was condemned to death and given to the beasts. But I realized that this lion was also captured, after I was separated from it in the way I have described, and is thanking me now for my kindness and medical treatment." Afterwards we saw Androclus and the lion, tied to a short lead, going around the shops all over the city, Androclus being presented with money, and the lion being showered with flowers, and everyone who met them saying, "This is the lion which is a man's friend, this is the man who is the lion's doctor."